Hello, welcome back to another video. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to let you know I took a 2-week vacation off because I'm working on taking breaks that aren't because I'm exhausted or I'm in a flare. Basically, I'm trying to give myself time to rest like a normal person. Today, I am going to be talking about some of the safety measures and some of the things, changes that we've made to protect ourselves from the pandemic, and some are going to probably be things that we are going to keep doing forever. Some things I hope we don't do forever, because I'd quite like to go back to being able to browse a shop without worrying that I'm going to die. In case you are new here, hello, I'm Olga. I have fibromyalgia and chronic migraine and IBS and asthma. That's another thing that probably makes me the most vulnerable right now in this whole thing that we're going through right now. And these are things that I think a lot of people should also do, even if they're not at risk, because it would really help people who are at risk if you healthy people were also not spreading the virus. So the obvious first thing that we do that we didn't maybe do as religiously before, but is still probably one of those habits we're going to keep forever, is as soon as we get into the house, we wash our hands. And we also wash our hands whenever we touch anything that's come from the outside. So if I get mail, if I get something, an order. And the other thing that we do is we wash all of our groceries. So whatever can be removed from packaging is if I buy rice, I'll just open the packet and dip it into a jar that I have at home, and I'll throw the packaging away and wash my hands. So I basically assume that anything that's been outside, that's been in a space that isn't my house, is contaminated and therefore needs to be disinfected. It needs to be cleaned, it needs to be treated as though it is infected. So anything that cannot be unpacked, I will wash the packaging. So a bottle of shampoo, I'll wash it. Anything that comes from the outside is washed before we bring it into the house, unless it is something that we're not going to be using straight away. So if I buy detergent that's on sale and I'm not going to bring it into the flats straight away, I'll leave it in my garage, because we have a bunch of shelves where we keep food that doesn't spoil, so that we don't have to go to the supermarket as often. So we'll buy more quantity of things, like milk and tuna, things like that, things that don't spoil, flour, sugar, things like that. Normally we will leave that and be quarantined, and that stuff then normally might not get washed. It depends how long it's been since we went to the store, but if it's been a month since I went, I won't disinfect it. But most things I remove from packaging, so it kind of is redundant. But yeah, that's kind of something that we started doing that we definitely didn't do before. Another thing that we do as soon as we get home is change our clothes. So normally the process is when we enter the house, we have a little entryway, right? A small space. Keys and things that have been outside are left. And that side table, the dog gets his paws cleaned and disinfected. We will remove our shoes, go and wash our hands, remove our mask, then change clothes. And then if we've been to the supermarket or somewhere that's been a closed space, if I went to the hospital for a treatment or something like that, all of our clothes go straight in the wash. But if we're just walking the dog, or went out for fresh air, then we might save those clothes and wear them again to walk the dog later. We don't wear our outside clothes inside. So I might change into pajamas, or I might change into normal everyday clothes, but whatever I wear outside, I don't keep that on in the house. Another extra step that we take when we do go to places that are closed, like the post office, supermarket, hospital, things like that, then we will also shower before we put on our normal house clothes. So it will be the same process, but before we change, when we change, we will also take a shower. Like I said, we disinfect Zeus's paws. We have these little wet wipes that are specific for disinfecting dogs' paws. We will also disinfect his fur if somebody pet him. If he went up to somebody and they touched his face, I will also clean his face when we get home, because I don't know where their hands have been. He is very good at staying in like that one spot where he knows we do that, and giving us his paws and stuff. Another thing that we do quite regularly, which we didn't really do that often, is disinfecting door handles and light switches and like phones and keys. Like I said, we throw away all outer packaging that we can. So if I get mail, I will throw away the envelope, I will throw away whatever packaging stuff comes in, which I didn't used to do because I am a very firm believer in, you know, environmentalism and sustainability, and I reused as much packaging as I possibly could. But right now, I feel like health and safety first. Obviously, we wear a mask whenever we go outside. I understand that some people still walk outside without masks. Here in Portugal, we are not legally, we don't have to wear a mask outside of our house. So like you only have to wear a mask if you're going into a cafe or a restaurant or a shop or, you know, post office, supermarket, places that are closed. If I'm just walking outside, I don't need to be wearing a mask, but I tend to wear one anyway, for the simple reason that I live in an apartment building. So as soon as I leave my front door, there is like a closed space that doesn't get a lot of ventilation. I'm going to be in the lift because I live on the 7th floor, and so I'm going to be in a few closed spaces that are not disinfected every day, that multiple people use, that a lot of people use without a mask on, which really freaks me out. I wear a mask whenever I leave my front door, like I'm already wearing one. I don't wear one as much when I visit like my family, because they don't live in an apartment building, so we'll just wear a mask if we're going somewhere. But I do tend to just wear one anyway because people don't understand the concept of social distancing, and a lot of times we'll get really close to you. And also there's spaces where it's really hard to stay away from people, and I just prefer to be safe than sorry, so I just wear a mask because I find that it's just easier. And now that it's getting a little bit cooler, it will probably just be nice to have that area of my face warm as well. I'll wear normal fabric masks that I make when I'm going to walk my dog, if I'm just going to get like some fruit from the shop downstairs, because they always have all the doors open, and they're really, really strict with their people having to disinfect their hands before touching anything and stuff like that. But if I'm going somewhere like the hospital, like the post office, like the dentist, like the supermarket where there's going to be a lot of people and I don't know if they're going to be like close to me or not, then I will wear a surgical mask, like a disposable one. But I prefer to just wear fabric ones because it's more sustainable. But I do understand that surgical masks are a little bit more safe, so I find that I will wear those on occasions where I feel like there's higher risk of infection, whereas in situations where the risk is a little bit lower, I will wear my normal fabric masks that I wash regularly. Any medical appointment that I have that I can do over the phone or via video chat, I'm doing it that way. My neurologist is the only one so far that does video calls, like video appointments. She's really good about that. She's like made a point of me not going into the hospital. Basically what I've done is anything that can be postponed has been postponed, and things that absolutely have to happen then I am doing over phone or video, and things that then have to be done in person, like my Botox treatment, then that's the only occasion I will go into the hospital. I've avoided everything else, and I've like tried to manage my conditions myself, which sometimes works better than others. I feel like because I have a little bit more experience now, I am managing better than I would have been like 2 years ago if this had happened. We are also avoiding eating out, so I have not gone out to eat, I think, this whole time. No, that's not true. I went one time, not in our town, because our town has throughout been one of the worst areas in Portugal, like infection-wise. Not the worst, but always in the top like 10 of bad places. And whenever we visit our family, they live in an area where there's very low amount of cases, so we're a little bit less worried there. So we did go out to eat once in the summer, but we were worried. We're really worried the whole time, and like for weeks afterward, every time we sneezed, we were like, but now we will not be doing that again until like next summer, probably, because winter obviously is worse for this kind of thing. We will sometimes order takeout, but we use the feature on Uber Eats where they have to like leave it at the door and not interact with us. And again, we throw out all the outer packaging and transfer everything into like clean plates and stuff like that. We're both working from home full time. I always did that, but my partner is now working from home full time and probably will be until the foreseeable future. We are avoiding people who we know are not being careful, who are not wearing masks and not social distancing and not really taking things seriously. So if we know that they're acting in a way that we don't think is safe, we avoid spending time with those people, and we kind of like will avoid seeing them. We're avoiding people in our family that are more vulnerable, so I haven't seen my granddad since like July, and then before that I only saw him in like February before this whole thing broke out here. So I've seen him twice this year, and I don't know if I'm going to see him again for like months now, because yeah, I don't want to put him in danger. He also goes to dialysis 3 times a week, so he's in an environment where he could potentially be vulnerable to getting it, and then he could pass it to me, so it's like both ways kind of thing. We avoid public transport, and so I don't go anywhere if it's not my partner driving me or me walking there, I guess, but everything's quite far away, so I don't go walk places. It's quite hard to walk really far with your mask on. We do any shopping that we can do online, but we're just kind of like avoiding things that aren't necessary. So if I don't need to buy anything, I'm not going to be shopping just for the sake of it. Another thing that I've been doing is like I order all my medication through the pharmacy. Like I'll email them and be like, hey, I need this and this and this and this and this, and send them my prescriptions, and then they come and give it to me at my house. A lot of people who work there live in my neighborhood, so I think they just bring stuff over like on their lunch break or whatever, and they'll just drop it off. So it's really nice of them, and they've been really kind and helpful throughout this whole thing. So are buying things less often, so whereas before we used to go to the grocery store every week, and we'd buy whatever we needed for that week. Now we're going like once a month, trying to stretch that to like 5 weeks and stuff like that. I also make a lot of stuff at home. Fresh produce I buy from the shop downstairs that is really helpful. They have really nice like quality products as well. So it's actually better quality than at the supermarket. I avoid sharing a lift with my neighbors. They'll just get into the lift, and I found it hard to say like, hey, can you not please? That's only happened like twice I think this far, especially because most of the time now that I go out with Zeus, and people don't want to get in the lift with a stranger's dog, so that's kind of nice. It makes it easier to say, oh yeah, you're not coming on the lift with me. A lot of people do just say, oh, I'll just take the next one. And sometimes what I've found is easier than saying like, can you take the next lift, is just taking up a lot of room and like being close to the door and like not moving, and not like making room for people to get in, especially if they're not wearing a mask. Like I will not make any attempt to let them in, and that kind of helps. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit manipulative, and that's just something that's worked for me. So if you live in an apartment building like me, maybe that's something worth a try. And another thing that I've tried to do is I've tried taking Zeus on walks at times where there's less people around. I found that certain times of the day more people are walking their dogs, and I found that it just makes it a little bit harder because he wants to be friends with everyone. I think that's everything. Pretty long list, but a lot of this stuff has like started kind of happening naturally, and it was stuff that we realized like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do it that way, and we've kind of come up with ways to make it more efficient and stuff. I definitely think it's more work than what we used to have, but I feel safer, and I've not really had a scare yet. I've not at one moment felt like, oh, I probably got it, or I might have gotten it. Like, I'm pretty sure that I've been very, very safe. These are just some things that I'm doing. I'm not saying that you should be doing them or that you shouldn't be or whatever. Please follow the advice of the World Health Organization and whatever your government is telling you, if your government is trustworthy. Remember that these circumstances and the things that I'm explaining to you are things that make sense in my life. That's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful and that gave you some ideas of maybe things that you can incorporate into your life. That's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave it a like and a comment and consider subscribing to my channel if you have not done that already. It would mean a lot to me. That is everything that I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.